Hello, guys. Welcome to another edition of the Political Minute. Um, just in looking at things, everybody's got all these things on with the border and everything else. It's like migrants are coming in at an alarming rate, highest in 20 years. More than that, so many South American migrants. Can we honestly say, is it proper racism with the fact that so many of them have dominational Native American heritage rights? Kind of reverse caste system from Spain, anti Spanish royalty. Most of these have started falling due to the fact that we will not allow them to have that because while we used to have a similar situation in that up until about the 1970s or 1980s, we have gone completely to basically the Mussolini Reich. And for them to trade with us and not be left in complete third world poverty, because most of them do count as second world nations, other than the chemicals and the food and things such as that we all complain about that we don't want, but we want to be considered a first world nation and be nice and fat and not be able to do war really. And then they're just like, Androzine, shoot it up with XOT. Legalize steroids. Steroids by any name are steroids. Right, pig vomit. But, your rose that smells just as sweet. I know it'll never go anywhere. I got no subscribers for this channel, but just in saying, are we trying to go back to the time before the 1970s? Maybe, but I highly doubt it. Mussolini has too many colonies here. And when we were rounding them up in the 70s and deporting them like they did some of the Jewish families to Sicily and Sardinia and South Italy, we were doing that with the Mussolini family because they found out all these families that they deported had dumped the evidence on them. And the United States common good would not do anything. It's kind of like as Joe Biden said, I'm not removing the pipeline. The American people are, because they're going to elect me. And I said this, and I just do whatever the majority says and don't have to care about the minority. It's a campaign promise. I don't have the ability to do anything for anyone else until my second term. And moving along with everything here and saying how basically proper racism is trying to figure out how to go after and execute Native Americans. And you can be like, God, Colin, you went up there and stayed in the Econo Lodge Hotel, and you just think you're whatever the hell it is. And it's like, actually, I don't really have to do that. Too many people go, you're just not white enough for us. And until they hear my name and say that I must be a British whatever it is. And the only time that I've ever been in London, actually 2 times going through the customs area, one of the people who supposedly has my last name or something else over there from one of my wherevers says that I genetically test as one of their slaves from Native American areas. Came over and I had my Vax card when I was like 16 because I wanted to be totally perfect. My mom didn't want me beaten to death by customs because, moms and what happens in an airport, and you're with a school trip that you worked really hard to get there with, which is totally meaningless later in life. The biggest thing that I can say I remember from that is he grabbed my passport from me because he has the right to do that because he's like some sort of like person that's over like a regular worker. Came into the duty free area, took my passport out, opened up my little passport folder, and I'm like, oh, they're checking everything. They got security everywhere. People look like me, whatever. Pulls my Vax card out, rips it up, and goes, y'all in Tennessee and USA don't have to have that. You're free. That's what you wanted to hear. You're free. You're fucking terrorists. And this is like 96 or something else. And, he's a little bitty bearded, barky doggy. It means something over there in Britain, and I honestly, I don't understand Wells too much with everything whenever they start doing it. But somehow or another, it translates like barky doggy. And, I supposedly paid him with my gold because I'm a leprechaun also, and everything else over here in the USA, and had him do all that and gave him like a couple of like, big gold shillings or something else that's as big as my glasses things. And anyway, I digress into however it is, but vax passports and killing Native Americans and whatever it is. But I just look at it and be like, even internationally, everything's with that. It doesn't really end with it. And I mean, I've got a different story here to go on with it, and really look at like the borders and stuff, and it's like it's just proper racism. It's what Mussolini was trying to exterminate around the world. Anywhere the natives or people that came to the native areas was at, and further divide everything over the tribal, the construct, and the wild zones, and trying to say everything that's really like unknown is just south of the equator and isn't with a country that touches it. And then that can be left for Byzantium. And then Byzantium will be like, well, we can't really go anywhere except to South America. And we can't go around to India because, Fifth Reich and everything else like that and stuff. But, it's what people do. Anyway, moving right along here. Honestly, the border situation, if we didn't have massive illegal immigration due to the fact we can't have kids because of the chemicals in the food, I don't think that it's really going to happen. We need Mexicans and people from south of the border, irregardless of anything, because they're the only ones that will have kids. I mean, China can't even have the 12 kids like one woman used to do back in the 1910s to 1930s, and it's like, and she still looks hot. I mean, nobody can do that anymore, except for Mexicans. Everybody wants to deport the Mexicans to their own country and just not deplete them. Everybody from south of the border all the way down to the tip of wherever it is, they want to bring them in, and it's like they don't have chemicals in the food. And we call them third world countries for that. And then there's like, you have pork in food, and I don't eat this because, and I'm going, yeah, they're fake Confederates from the Mussolinis that were forced down there, and they're now trying to migrate back up here because they were scared there would be a draft, and Joe Biden's not going to do anything. And as it is, the Biden conspiracy is that he's Confederate. He will never throw his slaves out of housing because they rent and aren't property owners. And they, have to have everything paid off to the bank and realize as a national citizen, you don't ever have to pay property taxes anywhere. Therefore, the states are all relying on the federal government. But anyway, looking about what's really happening, just as long as you're not Native American, because, you got to make those into human ritualistic sacrifices so you can have, like, real politicians come in. I really know that I'm probably skirting off here, but it's a thing in this area, and it's became a thing in Alaska, and for the next set of presidents. And, Alaska basically trickles into, like, Northern Star State, wherever the highway goes out of, across the Friendship Bridge into New York City and Washington, D.C., and Portland and Oregon. And while we can all say that, yes, probably some of this stuff is justified, not going after Native Americans or something, but, for some of the rowdy behavior, the angry outbursts and stuff over George Floyd. But as it is, never let any good tragedy go to waste for the enemies of the USA. I'm just saying, it's like as I looked at some people, I'm going, oh my God, look how bad this year is going to be. Y'all can't even buy a t-shirt and even march in a thing and say the name or anything else of a person out there. And it's like, it's 20 minutes long of video, and it's like nothing, nobody, anything else. This has nothing to do with any of the situation out there. Do you kid? I mean, I'm going, okay, 3-5 minutes, it's crowded, it's something else. Everybody's looting the store's poster signs. Seriously, nobody's looted a t-shirt store and just like, scribbled with a set of markers that they stole and been like, we're too poor to make t-shirts. And it's like, that's why people had to have drugs and stuff in their system to keep going and constantly be at check cashing places for check advance. I'm not trying to give people ideas. I'm not trying to be part of anything because I know if I'm part of anything, it will fuck it up. I'm the natural fuck up guy, like my 0 subscribers. But just looking at this honestly, openly and everything, it's gonna, we're going through a basically, are you Native American, Oriental Jewish? We're going to exterminate you. We're not really with the right, but it's how we do this. But we don't do it like whatever. Ever since they basically kind of took over from the political aspect, when they weaseled Truman in with FDR for his VP, and then everybody else was like trapped by the military situation going forward. And then it's just like, even in one of the Cheney movies out there, it's like I watch it on one side of town, now I watch it on the other. On one side of town, it has this one scene where he's finally gotten in with like Ford and everybody, isn't going to be sent home. And they're like, time to get some really good work done here. On the other side of town, the one closer to where it's like all the Pope Pius and everybody else, it's time to move out the old Jews and replace them with the new ones. And I'm just going completely so true to the point. And I'm just like, it's ridiculous with it. Anyway, border and other stuff. Basically, they're just bringing in people so they don't have to look like they're going after Oklahoma necessarily, because they're running out of like satellite reservations. I mean, we can't change the DNA for that and say there's a reevaluation of core DNA because of the Holocaust Remembrance Act. Also because of the Native American Reclamation Act. Also because of the Indigenous Peoples Recognition Act. And that's with the UN and other places. And if we go against any one of those three, even the Pope would come here and say, I don't care, we're making an army and we're taking over the USA and we're going to be putting in UN peacekeepers because you all are naturally genocidal. And the Pope will say that he has something that can take out our nukes called his devoted followers. Kind of like they say, look for people with Islamic turbans. They might be not letting us shoot our nukes off at people. And I'm just going, really? It's like Kennedy was a papist, and I've watched the black and white things over it and everything. And now his family is like, we're beyond unabashed Catholics. We just had to lie about that so we could get in over here. And I'm going, it's ridiculous with everything that I get that comes back to me or that I hear about. And people are like, where is this talked at? Where is this? I don't have to tell you anything anymore. And, I was really nice to this one guy, and I'm tired of the remote interrogations from the police as it is this proper racism. You need to stay out of my car. You need to never say I'm a person of interest in any way, shape, or form unless you have brought me in for questioning. That's the only way you can be a person of interest. And you cannot use any of my likeness, my family heritage, or name, or anything out there with it, or pretend to be me anywhere in the world for any reason whatsoever, even under imminent danger to yourself. I am not a convicted felon, so you can't use me in open open anything, even with a traffic ticket. You can't use me in open investigations. And as a person of interest, you can only do that in my local area that I've been to. You cannot interfere with my email, paid email, or state mail, or mail between UPS and myself or private couriers. In any form of that which is representing, me to you or anything else. You cannot use any cyber situations. You cannot monitor my house in any way or shape or form or anything else with that. When they say, may 10 guilty men go free to preserve the life of one innocent, that does not mean anything over the legal situation, oblivionates, or anything else that are here to destroy our country. It means make 10 of us revolutionaries, 10 of us that openly work in the government and will shed our chains of servitude unto the government. go out, and the one that stays over here, the one that stays whatever it is that is doing everything nice, may he go free, and us 10 free him and everyone else from you, and we escape all forms of punishment. So in a way, that's 11 people go free. Not that you're here, you're with that, and you can escape justice in any way, and just be like, we're stupid espionage agents from some other place. Now we can look at the border and say, isn't that what the Mexicans are saying? I really don't think so. Isn't that what all the people from all the other 8,000 miles of border? I know someone's going to correct me. Please do. That's not the Mexican border. That are all coming in here and aren't even people from south of the border or in the Americas. I'll even give Canada a pass on this. Why is that not anything is being done about any of these people coming here that have traditionally been what our government has been like, no, we're not with you. Why do we always blame Mexico? Why can we not say things normally? Anyway, this is Colin Dawson. I know no one's, going to like or subscribe, so thumbs up for myself. I'll keep doing it. And Ricky Dyer over at White Sands with his family can still keep stealing my ideas. Oh, yeah. Blame China. They're still too Jewish, but they go by the tribalistic Bible of the Sixth Reich. Yeah. Seriously, Constantine wrote it.